#Real Race Talk. It's the Revved Up Sports Show talking local, regional, and national action. Here's Bobby Chaffee and Rodney Rodriguez.
Happy Monday, friends. Welcome to the Revved Up Sports Show, #Real Race Talk. Diving in once again. We are going live. You catch a lot of these shows and folks go in and they tape all these different things and whatever. This bitch is live always. I'm in Round Rock. I'm Rodney Rodriguez, of course, up north. Bobby, you are up norther than I am. Bobby's usually down when we do the show separated like this. We're usually, I'm the north guy. I'm the Yankee, and Bobby is the southerner. My man from Denton, Bobby Chaffee. How we doing, brother?
All right, checking in from the Best Western Suites here in beautiful downtown Denton. As work duty always calls, but not too bad today. A little bit of a easy day. I actually got to go to a work conference, so just spending time with some fellow colleagues up here, and then hanging out with you tonight. So should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that CC Speedway race.
So it goes without. Yeah, that's right. So what we're doing tonight, like Bobby talked about. At the end of the show, we got Justin Lee's going to check in about 6:45, and we're going to talk about River City Quarter Midgets. I wanted to talk to him because our man Bruce Wright was posting some really cool stuff with that, and I think as we've been talking about all the legends, I think it's time that we kind of hone back in and talk about the future of the sport. And I like what they're doing there. We're going to talk to him, and then Justin Long is going to check in, kind of new segment that we'll come up with. Maybe we'll call it Shop Call or some random shit like that. I mean, just something. We'll talk to our man from GRC talking about good stuff with that as well. And then at the end, we're going to watch that 1995 100 lap super stock race from CC Speedway from back in the day. Really cool stuff right there. Bobby, did you see that IMSA and I know that we're in almost race mode right now because I turned on FS1 earlier and they're doing like a Kevin Harvick thing. And so how old are we? I was thinking about this. How old are we in the sense now that you look at this roster of analysts that you're going to have for NASCAR, that it's going to be Clint Boyer, Jamie McMurray, and Kevin Harvick. Damn, time flies when you're having fun.
It's crazy, right? When you think about the ability those guys have. But I think that not so much for Harvick, as he was kind of a natural when he used to do the play-by-play for the different races at Charlotte when they did the drivers only broadcast, came off as a natural in the booth. But I think that you had to have the ability to find a second life with Jamie McMurray and with Clint Boyer because of the fact they're now in the booth and in the studio. And it's why their numbers weren't great. I mean, McMurray's won a lot of the big time races. I don't think he's Hall of Fame worthy, but he's definitely had a career, winning the big time, the marquee races. I really think that it's shown his ability that everybody he knew what he was talking about when he was racing. Yeah. So it's a second life. You get a chance, kind of like with Benny Parsons. A lot of people, Benny Parsons, they don't remember him being a badass in ARCA and a badass winning races and stuff in the Cup Series. He's known as a broadcaster. Yeah. Kind of the same thing with Ned Jarrett too. There when ESPN was coming up in the mid '80s.
And another one, now that you mention that, is Buddy Baker. I mean, Buddy Baker was a bad son of a bitch. I mean, there was no other way around it. But Big Buddy broke a lot of cars. I mean, Buddy would drive a car until it would not go anymore. And that was the thing, like when Buddy went to – and that's what I love about the guys that you're talking about right there. I mean, with Ned, with Buddy, with Benny, those are guys where they're unorthodox style of broadcasting. I mean, that's really what – I mean, when you go back, I really like – and I've been meaning to touch on this for a couple of weeks. And you guys – feel free to check in right there. You've got Bruce Wright, Bill Kruger. They're checking in. They're in the ATL. They're out there in Bad Street, Atlanta, GA. Not Atlanta, but, well, yeah, Atlanta, GA. Mike Knotts. I love the race shop calls right there. But like from the Channel 90 days back then, that was kind of the thing with those guys that would get on MRN, and they had a totally different perspective because it was a radio call. It wasn't, you didn't have to be polished and all this stuff like these guys have to do right now. I mean, the media training that they do, it's just unbelievable. But man, those were the dudes that really, when you want to talk about a color analyst, I struggle a lot of times because, like, if I'm in a broadcast, they want to pair me with another play-by-play guy, and it's like, okay, that's great, but I want a color analyst. You know what I mean? It's like when you get two play-by-play guys together, that gets really hard because it's like, okay, they're doing the same job, and those guys that you're talking about, they truly gave you the insight and the color that you wanted.
I think they had to. I mean, I think it was just because of the nature of the beast in terms of just the what they were watching. I mean, it was the rise of NASCAR. Was the, you can say that ESPN was NASCAR was a foundational sport there on ESPN in the 80s when it went from nothing to started being in every house. It started with the 500 there on CBS, but you started having Speed Week, right, with Dave Despaney.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you started having, the ESPN2 started with the winter shootout there at Tucson. And then races moved to ESPN2 to get people to tell the cable networks they wanted them to carry ESPN. So, I mean, it was a foundation there for a long time. Now, to the streamers, obviously NASCAR already announced their groundbreaking deal there with Prime Video. And then, of course, the big news was when WWE announced a huge $1 billion streaming deal to put Raw on Netflix. I mean, it's only a matter of time. I mean, it's going to be it. You're already behind a paywall if you're watching it on cable. But if you got to watch it, you're still going to be behind a paywall when you watch it on Prime Video or watch it on Netflix, right? That's just the way that it's going to be.
Yeah. You know, the best part, as I see you there in the hotel, the best part about doing these, like what you're doing right there, and again, this is how this has evolved so much. Remember the way when we started out, I mean, trying to do this, it was like a pain in the ass. Now it's this easy. Couple of when was it? In Pensacola. So when I was in Pensacola, so I was doing the Texas Sports Unfiltered show. The first day that I did it from the hotel room. And with that one, I didn't have an audio plug-in. So I was obviously talking, and you could hear everything else just through the ambient speakers on the computer. And I sat there, and we're going on for an hour and a half. It was a long show that we were going on talking about whatever. I walk out of the room. I walk out of the hotel room, and the nice lady's there, that they come in to check on you. And she's sitting there, and she was like, I thought you was fighting with somebody in there. Because all you could hear was me talking and then the screaming back and forth. And she's like, I really thought that there was something bad going on in there. I said, no, man, that's media. That's modern day media right there. What we're doing. And that just kind of goes back to the point that you're talking about right there. Let's talk about it. We got about 5 minutes, I think, before Justin Lee jumps on. What the hell is going on with SiriusXM Channel 90? You still have the morning show, which that's a staple. I mean, those guys are great. You've got Danielle and Larry, which Lord knows I love Danielle. Larry, he's a plethora of information. That midday slot is wide open. You got Moody, but there's a lot of things missing on there right there. Seems like they're shaking things up a little bit over at the old SiriusXM, whatever you want to call it, headquarters.
Yeah, it looks like they are. Today there was the 1979 Ontario LA the LA Times 500, 400, whatever it was from Ontario Motor Speedway. So in the middle of the day, I don't even think they got to Moody unless they ran Moody late. But I don't know, dude. They're trying to shake some stuff up. They let go of Claire B. Lang, and that kind of changed some stuff there. It sounded like it pissed a lot of people off. But
yeah,
I'm just adjusting my selfie light here to stare me right in the face.
Mm-hmm.
The joy of times the selfie light.
From one of the feeds, I'm assuming it's Facebook. Robert Harris, let's talk about Dirt Track NASCAR is an example of how to loose a fan base. I mean, why? I mean, so look, here's the thing. What we have had this conversation many, many times on this program to where NASCAR, they are simply evolving. This is a national organization. Look at the National Football League. You've got this whole Taylor Swift thing. That's the big draw right now with what we're doing with the Super Bowl. Football has changed. The NBA, don't even get me started on that. I don't want to go to a rap show. I want to watch a basketball game is what I want to watch. Major League Baseball seems to be the only one that is kind of still whatever. Hockey and soccer, I mean, those are kind of outlying things right there as to where they continue to do really, really good things. Let me tell you something. Sitting there watching, we talked about it last week, Bobby, the Chili Bowl, which is one of the statement races. And it's great, whatever. That's a fucking show. That is a fucking show. No other way to put that on. That is an entertainment thing. I mean, night after night after night. All right, let's go. I mean, you're going to sit there and do it. And I'm not beating it up. I'm just saying that dirt track is headed down that same road. And even on the local stuff, it's headed down the same road that pavement racing has done in the last 2 decades.
Well, there's always got to be a show element, right? The competition far, because competition has to be enjoyable.
Robert, I'm just fucking with you, dude. I know what you meant. Lose.
But I think that the competition has to be enjoyable, and to be enjoyable, there's got to be an entertainment, right? The racing has to be good. It has to be side by side. There has to be some kind of beating and banging and stuff like that. Not necessarily guys and jumping up on hoods and trying to break each other's nose with their helmets on. But I think that, it's a unique atmosphere, because had both the conference championships games yesterday had been shitty, had been blowouts like playoff games have been, what happens then, right? Then it's like, oh, well, this isn't entertaining at all. This was an ass whooping. It's no different than any kind of racing deal. You got to have an entertainment factor into it, whether that is built in like a Monster Jam show, whether that is sometimes organic race or organic like at your local dirt track.
Bobby, you mean every
Yeah.
You mean every dirt track race isn't this? Man, you guys just wait. As the year goes on, every time something gets out of control, that bit right there is never going to be gone. But I totally understand. I totally understand what's going on, what you're saying, Robert. I mean, it really is. Look, Bobby and I are both old school racing dudes, and to see what we're seeing right now, it sucks. I mean, it's different, but when it comes to the NASCAR stuff, I mean, you can go back and look at depending on what your heyday is. I think that's where you get into the NASCAR debate, where people start talking about the heyday of NASCAR. A lot of people say the heyday of the NASCAR was the mid '90s, and I totally agree. That was a really good time. To me, the heyday of NASCAR was the early '80s, and the competition there sucked. So that's really the whole thing. But what they're doing here, it's very much a franchise. It's very much a business where they're trying to cater to the customer. There are millions of dollars that go into this. There are millions of dollars that are paid to really smart people way above my pay grade to go out there and to promote NASCAR. And here's the other part, and this is also great for dirt track racing. There's a lot of people spending money for people to consume that content. And when you're doing that, you're satisfying the customer. NASCAR just happens to have a different customer than short track racing right now, in my opinion.
Well, I think you could be a race fan and not be a Cup fan.
Sure.
And I think you could be a fan of a dirt track. There's plenty of people we know that don't watch NASCAR races that are diehard dirt track racers, right? Although granted, they know what's going on and they know why everybody sucks and we're, Bubba Wallace finishes. But you got to come through, and it's the same thing. There's plenty of NASCAR fans out there that watch that on TV and don't have a single clue there's a close dirt track to them within an hour drive of their house.
That's the whole thing about it, and that's where that crossover has to happen, and that's where, I mean, it really comes down to having to work together. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I posted something today about the San Antonio, and Jennifer Kidd is checking in. By the way, Jennifer, you are a rock star for what you're doing with that San Antonio race reunion thing, because you have ignited a spark in a fan base that I thought had forgotten about all that. So thank you for what you're doing. I posted something where some pictures that were, posted there, and I said, "Here's my ideal class," and there were a lot of people upset with some of the ones that I left out, and I apologized in advance. But I mean, it's really okay to just to support each other. I mean, the whole thing is like with us right now, Bobby, and we see it with Supercross. The NASCAR crossover to Supercross right now is something that I think is exceptionally good, because you have the two fan bases that come together. And I think that you don't have to go to an asphalt track, and asphalt folks, you don't have to go to the dirt track. But I don't see a lot of the asphalt folks just relentlessly taking shots at dirt tracks. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I've never gotten that whole narrative, to be honest with you.
Well, it seems like the dirt track racing, and you and I are both knee deep in dirt track racing now. So I think part of it is that it's always been a contest, guys versus the world, right? That's what it's felt like sometimes, when it's like, I race dirt, so there's nothing else out there. Screw the pavement guys, screw the drag racers, all that. It's either sprint cars or bust or whatever. So you don't really see that with the asphalt guys, just because the asphalt guys are more going after, well, look, we're not NASCAR and stuff like that. So I think it just kind of depends on the surface you're on, but it seems like it's always been a dirt versus everybody mentality.
I know, and it shouldn't be like that, because it's a very good product, and they need to be a little bit better about what they're doing. All right, let's dive in here. We were talking about, as we mentioned, we have had some great conversations here talking about with San Antonio, with some of the past stuff and so forth, and all the legends that we've had on here. And back on the show at the other place at the Horn, we would talk about quarter midgets and the River City Quarter Midget Association. Saw some stuff yesterday from Bruce Wright that really kind of pulled me in, and I really wanted to dive in and talk to this fellow right here. Joining us, it is our man Justin Lee. This is the dude that with the River City Quarter Midget Association in the Austin area, kind of taking that thing and guiding it. And Justin, first of all, how you doing, my friend?
Good. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate the invite out, and always happy to talk racing.
Oh man, I absolutely love that. Justin, first of all, before we dive into everything, let's talk about your background. I know you've got a couple of youngsters that are doing this as well, which that's what drives a lot of that. And this is a sport where I've always said we've got to have the people that are going to carry it forward, because like when we're all gone, who the hell's going to take this thing forward? Kind of talk about your involvement with all of this.
Absolutely. That's my background and my history rolls right into this. I grew up a race fan in New Mexico, going to the dirt track out in Las Cruces, which now is, everybody's racing Vado or Vado. I've been in Texas now for 15 years. Big race fan, dirt track fan, sprint cars, asphalt guy, love NASCAR. You guys hit on that quite a bit as well. I do want to piggyback on what you just said. We don't have an us against them mentality. We are asphalt racers, the River City Quarter Midget Association. We race on asphalt, but we have kids running dirt. One of our rookies from last year, Cole Williams, he's up in Oklahoma running dirt carts this weekend. He did real well up there running the novice class. His dad runs the adult classes. Anyway, my background, I have 4 kids. I got 3 of them racing. A couple of the cars back here. We raced here in Austin at River City Quarter Midgets. We raced San Antonio at the Lone Star Quarter Midget Association. We've raced Tulsa. Last year we went to Talladega and raced one of the national races, which is a flat track parking lot track that they set up during the summer Talladega race. It's a sister race to one of the NASCAR Cup races.
Yeah.
Previous to this, I was the rookie trainer, which you hit on that as well. It is all about bringing in rookies. We lose every year. We lose kids that move on to running junior sprints or legacy cars down in Houston, or bandoleros, whatever they move on from quarter midgets, they're moving on. It's our job as true stewards of the sport to bring in that fresh blood. So that's what I had done previously, and with some of the membership moving on to other bigger forms of racing, uh, I you could say I'm passionate about it, but you could say I was the last man standing. Took the took the reins, track president, club president, and just really trying to get more kids out here. We just last weekend, and you mentioned Bruce. Bruce was out there with his grandson, third, fourth, maybe fifth generation racer. I'm not sure. I know they go way back. They go back further, way further than I do. Uh, he was out there with 6 other kids. So we had 7 kids going through rookie training that will be racing River City this year. I know the San Antonio club, they got 6 or 8 that are coming up this year, trying to replace the 15 that have moved on after last season. So that's really what we're up to. We're trying to keep the racing vibe alive and keeping these kids, interested in motorsports.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Justin, it seems really weird that 6 doesn't sound for bringing new kids to the racing, but that is a huge number. From your experience, how hard is it to get them to go from Twitch that into an actual into a quarter midget? I mean, back in the day, they would show up at San Antonio Speedway, and they look cool and neat. But now it's like kids have so many; they don't care about cars anymore. And then it's you see it all the way into the teens and stuff like that. But for your age group, how hard was it to get them, off the TV, off the phone, behind the wheel?
That's where parents come in. The kids, when you take them out to the track, they are all in on the cars. I haven't had one kid show up. We do what's called an arrive and drive, and that's where I'll put one of my cars out there. Another club member will put his car out there. We disconnect the throttle. We put a 5-year-old that's never driven a race car out on the track, and we'll idle them around the track, and then we'll turn up the idle. We'll go a little bit faster. I haven't had one kid that ever came off the track and said, I don't want to race cars. Every last one of them says, I want to be a race car driver.
Mhm.
Now it's up to dad or mom or grandpa, or we even have club members that sponsor other kids, bring in other kids that don't have the means or the ability to bring their own car. They'll sponsor a kid and put them in one of their cars. Every kid wants to be a race car driver once you get them out to the track. Getting them to the track, that's the hard part, and that's mom, dad, grandpa's job. Get them out there, get them in one of the cars, and then the next challenge is getting a car and getting it tuned, learning the ins and outs. A race car is a race car, but a quarter midget is not a legacy, and a quarter midget's not a modified. It's not any other car. You kind of learn this car, and it takes a handler to get the car on the track to be competitive. It takes
Yeah.
the kid to listen, be coachable. When those come together, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, yeah. I like what you said right there, Justin, because one of the things that I was talking to Bruce about last night was I really like the sense where you said coachable right there is something that is extremely important to me. When you get these kids at this age, I mean, the attention span is all over the place. I mean, you can hook them in and do whatever you're going to do, but I was so impressed when he was telling me about, and you can elaborate on this as much as you want. I mean, there's a classroom part to this, teaching them what the flags mean, all of that. I mean, I got to tell you, Justin, there are grown men that get on the racetrack for the first time, and they don't know what the hell any of that is. So the sense that you're taking these youngsters and putting them first in the classroom, letting them walk around the track, learning all these different things, man, that to me is so powerful as to how you grow them and teach them the right way.
Yeah. So USAC has run these quarter midgets, but in the last couple of years, with NASCAR stepping in as I don't know what you want to call it, a sister or a parent kind
Yeah.
of agreement that they have, but there is a very strict rule book in the sanctioning agreement that we have. And every kid, whether you're 5 years old, if you're 5, you can come out and race. But if you find this, like my son, he was 8 when I got him in the race car. He goes through the same training. Every kid, no matter how old you are, is going to go through 4 tests or 4 classroom sessions.
Wow.
Some of that is in the car, some of it's not. We always start them on day 1. We're learning flags, we're learning lineups, we're learning uh, how to change lineups, what a restart is. There's a restart zone. There's, you know, all the things that you as a seasoned race fan or a racer are going to know. And a lot of the dads think they know, but we make the handlers, they're a rookie handler, just like it's a rookie driver. Everybody goes through it and everybody learns it. And it really is good. By the end of the second session, we're out there single car. We're learning lines. We're learning, how to get up on the wall, how to get down in the corner. Very basic things. These are, again, I keep reiterating, these are 5 and 6 year olds that
Yeah.
need to learn it. By the end of the fourth session, we're having a simulated race. They're out there, double file starts. They have a receiver. It's a one-way communication receiver. They're listening to the race director. On a restart, single file restart, starting order is all jumbled up. They have to know how to get in line. We make them go through a rollover training. We put every kid in the car, strap them in, put them out in the grass. We'll roll the car over. The kid has to see what it's like to be upside down in a car. Because believe it or not, these cars, at some point, you're going to be upside down in the car. We don't want you freaking out. There's nothing to hide. It's going to happen. Let's learn what it feels like. Let's learn what it's like to put a chain back on one of these cars. You're up on the nose and there's somebody holding the fuel line and there's somebody putting the chain on. There's a kid or there's an adult right there with the kid holding his head, but he's vertical in the car. A 5-year-old, the first time they go through that, there's a little bit of panic that happens.
Sure.
We put them through all that in a very closed environment so that when it happens on race day, nobody's surprised.
Exactly. Love that.
That's a cool deal. It sounds like a lot like they've been doing with Midgets on the dirt track with some of that they've been racing. I like the simulated rollover test. That's really cool. Let's go back to the NASCAR portion of it. How cool has that been? Not so much cool. Let's not use the word cool. How much of a benefit have they been in terms of just your exposure to the quarter midgets all over?
The NASCAR tie-in, that's kind of a mixed bag, and I don't know how much we want to go into it. They do bring a lot of exposure, and on the national level, it is a huge deal. I mentioned we raced Talladega, a national race last year. We're going to race 4 national races this year with our team. The national race exposure is huge. We were in a parking lot right by one of the main entrances at Talladega, and for the A mains on Sunday morning, we raced the B's, all the alphabet soup ran on Saturday and we ran the A mains on Sunday. There had to have been 15,000 people around the barriers that were NASCAR fans that had never seen a quarter midget run. And they stood right there. There's a big grandstand. They have live announcers. It's streaming on YouTube. All that on the national level is huge. At a local level, you mentioned the cool factor. That is the big thing that it brings. It's not necessarily money that comes to our club through NASCAR, but all the kids do get to wear a NASCAR U Series patch on their fire suit, and every car has a NASCAR U Series sticker along with Cookout, who's one of our contingency sponsors. And everybody recognizes the brand NASCAR. And really, it's brought branding. It's brought a feeling of legitimacy. You bring a kid out there that you say, we race quarter midgets. A lot of people don't know what that means. They understand race. They don't understand quarter midgets. We race in the NASCAR U Series. It's like Little League for NASCAR. Everybody and their brother understands what that means. So that's really the main thing that it has brought to the general public that's doesn't know what USAC is, doesn't know what quarter midgets are, doesn't even really maybe understand sprint cars. Maybe they're a sports car fan. Maybe they're, a Formula One fan, but they know what NASCAR is. And they're like, oh, this is Little League for NASCAR. I want to get my kid into it.
Oh, Justin, I have told the story so many times on this show to where in my mid-20s, I think was the first time that I had a NASCAR license, for a weekly racing series in San Antonio.
Yeah.
And I would go to the bar. Older, 25, much older. And I would whip out my NASCAR license. I'm like, check this out. And they're like, you're a NASCAR driver? Because it said driver. It had the NASCAR thing, driver. And like, it really is. I mean, despite what folks think about, and we were having that discussion there, it really is a very powerful tool. The other part of this that I think, Justin, is so cool to me is that when you guys have these events, I mean, whether it be a training event or whether it be an actual race, whether here in San Antonio, wherever you find a quarter midget event, and so many drivers have come through the quarter midget ranks, that when you have one of those, you have the racing, you have all of that, but it's a big family picnic. It's a big family fun time when you have these race weekends, isn't it?
Absolutely. I was talking to some of these rookie families here last weekend, and I told them, we're out here for this rookie training. We're at the track all day,
Mm-hmm.
and each kid probably put. It was the first session. They got 20, 30 laps on the track. That is not. It's not equitable how much time you see on the track when you're one of the race teams versus how much time you're at the track.
Yeah.
What that turns into is all the kids, they're all best friends at the track. I know that, once you get up into higher competitive racing, the age old saying, I bring my friends to the track. I'm not there to make friends. I'll tell you, my son, he has some of his best friends at the track, and they go out there. Once they go through that hot chute, it's like lights out.
Yeah.
All he wants to do is beat them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a big family picnic. All the trailers are out there, all the way from, guys showing up with cars in the back of the truck to haulers that are, you don't even want to know how much some people spend on
Yeah.
haulers.
Yep.
The kids don't care. They don't. There's an equity amongst these kids that they are all legitimate drivers because they're on the track. Some have fire suits with 13 sponsors on them, and other kids just have, your Simpson plain fire suit, and all it's got is the NASCAR patch on it.
Mhm.
They're all best friends. They're all equitable off the track, and then they go and battle it out for that 40 lapper that is going to last 15 minutes. We might be at the track all day long for those 2:15, a heat race and a main, and
Yeah.
it's great. It's great.
Yeah, I think the atmosphere. It's the one thing we talk about any form of racing is the camaraderie factor, whether that be the local racing. You don't see it as much in the big leagues, if you will, because that's more competitive, more money and stuff like that. But as far as like the grassroots stuff, I mean, it's one of those things that if you break apart and your neighbor's got it, he'll let you use it, right? And the portion is something that I feel like, yeah, you softball and baseball, and you can spend all day at little league football practice, but nothing compares to a day spent at a racetrack with the camaraderie, your friends, and your racing buddies. It just can't be matched by. And I think that's what makes that's the formula that you guys are using to make it, because yes, the kids have an aspect of it to where they want to come back a little bit, and if they're able to go out and spend all day with their friends and family and see if they're having a good time, that gets mom and dad coming back to the track as well too. So it's a cool factor
Absolutely.
that you guys have going on to happen.
Absolutely. And I got a story about that. I don't know how many times I've given radius rods or a hub, lug nuts, a spark plug here and there. Last year we got into some serious race damage on in a heat race where the complete front end of the car was trashed, and I had most of the parts together, but we were running multiple cars, and I had to have my girls on the track. It was my son's car. It was up on the table. I didn't know how I was going to get it all done. I turned around and there were 3 other race handlers there working on my car. Did they know my setup? No. All they were doing was helping me by getting the bent parts off the car.
Mm-hmm.
Asked me, what can I do? What parts do you need? And half of the work they did. And one of them I said, hey, if you would just clean tires, that'll save me 30 minutes that I can now replace this front axle and radius rods. And we got on the track. We won that race. And I credited every one of those dads for helping me get that car back on the track. Because without them, we were scratched. There was
Yep.
no way we were going to make it. And I was racing against some of them. It's crazy. We're competitors, but they don't want to win that race. If the Spar Motorsports car's not on the track, what is that even worth? I'm going to get your car on the track so I can beat you.
That's right.
That's the mentality that we all have. I'm going to get every kid on the track so that we can go out and beat them.
The way it should be. That's the way it should be. Justin, man, this has been great. Let's talk about, tell folks how to, number one, to get all the information about River City Quarter Midget Association. Obviously, I know there's kind of a tie in there with San Antonio. I know you guys kind of button up together. I know you have events together. You mentioned national events. I know those are coming up. Kind of give a synopsis of how to. If a parent hears this, if a kid hears this, and they want to be a part of this in the Austin area or the San Antonio area or anywhere, how do they make that happen? And what's the best way to follow you guys?
Best way to find us is on Facebook. So facebook.com/River City QMA is kind of the handle to get to our page.
Mhm.
All the phone numbers and email addresses are there. I'll put it up here in the chat room if you would like.
Yeah, for sure.
It's going to be my phone number. I'll direct you to the rookies, or I'll work on setting up an arrive and drive. Our first race is March 2nd here in Austin. It's at 500 VFW Road.
Yep.
It's right there south of Tech Ridge off of I-35 between Tech Ridge and Breaker. We start racing at 10 o'clock in the morning with the heat races. The mains are usually after lunch. We're done, wrapped up, trying to clean up by about 5 o'clock. Everybody is invited. There's no admission. You can go in the pitch. You can go everywhere outside of the fenced a hot shoot is what we call it. You can touch the cars. You bring a kid out, I'll put you in one of the cars, even if it's up on the pit cart. Feel what it's like. I'll put you in one of my fire suits and helmets. We'll get your kid excited. Then I got to get dad excited about spending the money to get started. But
Yeah.
we'll work on that. Go to Facebook. Go to River City QMA. If you're in the San Antonio area, it's Lone Star QMA. They're a great club. We run the Texas Shootout Series with them. Half the races are in San Antonio, half in Austin. We have a tie-in this year with Tulsa. We're running a regional race here and up there for a different point series. And then the kids that want to run national or other regional series, they'll travel a little bit as well.
Yeah, great stuff, man. Thank you for doing this. I got to tell you, man, it's a labor of love. And when I say doing this, I mean heading this organization, because we talk about it all the time. I'm a kid of a racer, and it takes the young ones to continue the love of our sport in some form or facet, and what you guys are doing is exceptional. And I appreciate you jumping on here. We'll repackage this with all of your socials and all that and get it pushed out. Get you some new racers, my man. Get you
Absolutely. Come on out.
Absolutely. You bet, man. Take care, be well, and we'll talk soon. Let us know how to help you.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
You got it, man. Take care. There he is, Justin Lee. Bobby, I got to tell you, that right there is so important. That is so important. We've talked about quarter midgets in the past on the program, but man, that really is the place. And it sounds like right there what they're doing. I mean, because that's the important part, teaching them all the important stuff. That's what's lacking. I mean, it's like just shove them out on the track, boom, go fast, whatever. They're doing it the right way there, the way they're teaching those kiddos.
As long as they don't go from a quarter minute, everything's going to be fine.
Well, but
That's different, though. That's a different deal.
I totally agree, and that's kind of the whole thing right there, and that's beyond what we're talking about right there with them. But it's I just love the basics. I remember. I mean, the whole thing is you get on the racetrack and you just want to get out there and haul ass, and I mean, it just really seems like they're teaching things the right way, the way that they should be taught, because so much of it is not so much the in the car stuff. A lot of the in the car stuff, you just have to learn it by doing it. Unfortunately, you're going to make a lot of mistakes and do whatever. But it just seems like they're kind of putting, you talk about the cart before the horse. They're kind of putting the horse before the cart on this deal.
And I think they have to. I mean, I think the fact that these kids are new to the sport and don't know much about it, I think that it helps the parents too, right? So they could talk about it when they're at home. It's kind of like a Boy Scout thing, right? You don't just start a fire; you got to learn how to build the fire. And I think it's the same way with this foundation of racing. It's not so much just that they're the next generation racers. It's the nation of the generation behind us. And I think that's the way to look at it is for every kid that's racing a quarter midget, that's the next potential local hero that can turn into the next big cup star. So the fact that they're able to come through and teach these kids the right way, look at Case James, for example, young kid, multiple generational talent, fourth generation racer there. So he's able to showcase his talents, win some national events, and now he's running a truck full time in Houston.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's the foundation there that becomes the next generation of racing.
Yep. All right. Great conversation right there. Talking to Justin Lee from the River City Quarter Midget Association. We'll get all those socials posted out. I think he said he may drop them in the chat as well. Let's go to the hotline. Now we go to the phone, and we're going to talk to, we got to figure out what we're going to call this, to the shop or in the trenches. I don't know, Bobby. That's your job. You're creative. I'm not. I just do things. So, this guy, you see, we talk about him all the time right here. It's one of our proud partners right here on the Revved Up Sports Show. Generation Race Cars on the line. It is our man, Justin Long. Justin, how we doing, brother?
What's going on, guys?
My man, what are you doing? It looks like you are cranking all kinds of machines out of your shop right now, my friend.
Man, I'm just trying to get a body done on a new car, so get it out of here.
Nice. Absolutely.
So, Justin, talk about it, man. Last season was really successful for you, company-wide. You had your house cars doing well, had your customer cars doing well. Talk about 2023 as a whole before we start talking about 2024.
Man, I can't be more thankful. We ended up, we've built a total of, right at, I think we were down to 19 cars we've built total, 20 to be soon, And last year we had 45 wins total, and the year before that 21. So it's picked up every year, and can't be more grateful, for all the guys that supported us and everything. And big shout out, like I said before, to Jason Hunter, and that guy helped out a ton, and he does all the welding and stuff for us and all the fab work, and it's just a team effort, and we just work when we can, and then go race and have fun.
Mm-hmm. So, Justin, what are you seeing right now? I mean, just kind of with volume of work that you have coming through. I mean, is it more leaning towards factory stocks or sport mods, or what are you cranking out more?
We've built 4 sport mods this off season, which is pretty good. So we'll have 4 more cars added to the stable this year, and Shepard, he's getting another one, so he'll have 2. And we've had a bunch of customers, bring cars in for updates and front end updates. Matter of fact, Robert Stewart called me called me a couple weeks ago and said, "Hey man, I need some help. Heath is wearing me out." And
Nice.
I said, "Well, where's he beating you at?" And he said, "Man, he's probably about half a tenth quicker than me." And I said, "Well, how about we give you 3? So how about we give you 3 tenths?
Hell
And
yeah.
then
Man, that's awesome.
that'll help you out some." So he's actually coming up here in a couple weeks, and I look forward to working with Robert some. So
yep, that's right.
See, Justin, now talk about your background, dude, because, I mean, obviously I've worked with you before there in Houston, but I don't think a lot of people realize what all you've raced and how long you've raced. Not only do you just the head man in charge right now, but you got a pretty diverse background of the stuff that you race too. Talk about that for the people that don't know.
Man, I started in the Legend division, running the little 5th mile and going to Charlotte back and forth, and went from the Legend cars, won a Thunder Roadster. I don't know if anybody knows that, but a Thunder Roadster National Championship, and ended up jumping out of that. JC Umshad, David Umshad, talked me into getting a modified, and my very first race out, man, was successful and won Speed Fest down there in Houston, and then it trickled from there. We won the next 3 races, and won at Kyle there, and then it's like everything. Asphalt's so expensive. My brother-in-law was running sport mod stuff, and I got into it, and I got connected with Billy at Vato, and just raced with his cars for probably close to the last 10 years, and here we are. I said I wanted to build our own cars and do our own thing, and this is what we're doing now.
Yep, no doubt. Justin, talk about the evolution. We were talking a while ago that the NASCAR versus dirt thing kind of came up or whatever, but just kind of talk about the evolution of dirt track racing right now. I mean, because with the different stock car series, I mean, I love the fucking IMCA stock cars. I mean, I've learned that from Joe Spillman, I think, to where that's really a class, and I also love the modifieds. But just kind of talk about how everything now. There are so many great competitive series, and man, like you there with Generation, man, you build some of the best shit that there is out there. I don't mean shit. I mean best stuff that you build out there. Just kind of talk about how everything's evolved here in the last 10 years for dirt track racing.
Man, it's sure has. Like this dirt game is almost getting to where, it's close to where we were when we were in asphalt. I mean,
exactly. Yep.
In order to be competitive, you gotta do the right things every week, and doing the right things takes money. And stock cars are a great class. I enjoy watching those whenever we're at the track, and the sport mod deal, and even the factory stocks. The factory stock guys, they put on a show. It's gotten to where racing is pretty much as a whole, I should say. If you want to go fast, you're going to spend a little bit of money. So, I mean, in anything you're in. So.
And Justin, isn't that the thing? Because when it comes to the whole debate, either or, it's the same shit. I mean, I don't care what you're doing. I mean, you can throw the drag racers in there for that matter. I mean, if you want to go fast, if you want to be the best, it's going to cost you a couple of nickels. And that's where I hate that there's always such a divide there between the two different genres right there. It's the same damn shit.
It totally is, man. And that's where, when I said we're going to do this deal and we're going to build our own chassis and we're going to do this, I've been there, done that, been on the other side of it where we were spending all this money,
yep.
Doing things. And, I promised everybody that was involved, we're not going to spend the money that, some of these other guys are spending. And we'll just do the technology deal, do the technology route, and we'll just go out and kick their ass. So
there it is.
That's what we've been doing.
Yep.
See, that's confidence, right? Confidence builds good race cars, right? I think that's the way it works. But one of the things I think maybe it was Shepard we were talking to one time, Justin, and not to give away the speed secrets, but he mentioned that some of the asphalt background that you guys have kind of came into play when designing these new style sport mods. And I mean, I think that it works with the way these dry slick tracks are now, because the way they're trying to set them up for the factory stocks and the pull-offs that they get, the asphalt pull-offs. I think that you hit on something that somebody didn't think about, and that's what makes your cars just kick ass so much right now.
Absolutely. I've drove a couple different cars, and dirt guys, when I first started, everybody was about flex and this and that, and wanted a car to move and this and that. I mean, I kind of took the asphalt mentality, and I was listening to some of my asphalt guys, that racing with me. I mean, some of the guys that are racing with me right now come from asphalt. Alex and Andy Holsey, and I've talked to Dean and everybody. I mean, in order to be consistent, you got to have a rigid race car, and I think that's what we build. We build a rigid race car, and because if a car's flexing a whole lot, I mean, you can't be consistent. So the more rigid we can get the thing and let the suspension do the work, then here we go.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm glad you mentioned those guys, Justin. Talk about the customers. I mean, that really is the important thing. We've talked to so many great, builders like yourself on the program, whether it be asphalt or dirt, and they always talk about, even if they're still behind the wheel full time, it's like I've got to service my customer. If I have to miss a race to service my customer, that's the main thing. You mentioned Alex Hickam there and some of those guys. Talk about just the database that you have right there, man. You build for some of the best drivers that we see around here.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I wanted to do when we were, starting this deal, is I wanted to put some guys in there that could give us some good feedback and and I knew how we were going to base the race cars and what I wanted to do and how we wanted to build the cars. I wanted to have drivers in there that kind of had the same feel as what I did, whenever I raced asphalt. And man, I can't thank all the customers that we've had. They give me a lot of feedback on things, and it's helped a ton with building new stuff. But yeah, it's just I basically, like you guys said, man, I took the asphalt mentality and we put it on dirt, and here we go. And Jeff has been really, really, really good this year with giving feedback and helping us out some, and look forward to this year for sure. I mean, we got some new cars coming out this year, and we've added a couple things and even gotten them a little bit more rigid, and I think it's going to be a good time this year.
Absolutely.
See, Rodney, the speed secret is not just in the chassis; it's in the shocks, right? That I didn't give away all the speed secrets of these GRC race cars. I didn't let the cat out a whole lot. So I didn't spoil all the intellectual property here.
I know that part.
Yeah. So Justin, one last thing that I've got for you. Well, actually, we're going to keep you a little longer. In terms of the outlook, have you thought about maybe getting another table to start more race cars to double the production? Because the GRC is not your full-time gig, right? Or is that your full-time gig now?
No, I go to work every day, just like everybody else. I go to work every day, and I rely on my guys in the shop. I've got Jason's with me 2 weeks out of the month, and I hired another guy, Camo Gaston. He won a bunch of races for us this year, straight out of the box, in a car, and he's really helped a ton in the shop. But I go to work every day, and I come home, and then what they don't do, I try to help out as much as possible. And of course, when I'm at work, yep. I'm constantly working 2 jobs at one time. So
yeah, never stops. All right, Justin, for folks that want one of these generation race cars, how the hell do they get a hold of you? Just ballpark idea. Let's say a sport mod, something bare bones, chassis. What are they looking at? Just kind of round numbers on something like that.
Man, we do a chassis powder coated with a body. It's $8,250, $8,250. I mean, that's pretty reasonable. That's powder coated body, complete body, brace, got your plastics, all that stuff, and we built a couple rollers for some guys. So if anybody wants to get a hold of us, they can get a hold of us on our Facebook page or on our Facebook. I've got my phone number on there, so just give me a shout. I can help everybody out as much as possible.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Good stuff right there, my friend. Super excited for another year of great generation race car activity on the track. Keep us posted. Let us know how to help you, man. Glad to be a partner with you, brother.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate y'all having me on, and look forward to this year. I think that we've got some guys that are gonna do some good things this year, I think.
Yep, that's what I'm thinking. All right, dude. Be well. Get back to work, man. Quit fucking
around. All right, man.
I
appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, dude. Later on.
See you.
You bet.
See ya.
There he goes, Justin Long, man, building some great race cars right there, generation race cars. And Bobby, I love what you just said right there. I mean, because it really is to me. I mean, I really do see the asphalt kind of footprint on this, and this is where I get really fucking frustrated. It's like when people want to beat up on the asphalt part, and it's like, you guys are kind of doing what we've been doing for a long time. You know what I mean?
And I think that it works too. I mean, I think if you built a really rigid, not a sport mod, that's what Justin does. But if you built a really rigid factory stock, one that doesn't flex all that much, I feel like that could be an advantage. We've seen it with the street stocks. The old asphalt street stocks are the ones that are running really good in a fireball class, in a pure stock class, all kind of classes like that. It's the old heavy dutier, more robust frames and stuff from the asphalt where the dirt cars are kicking ass right now.
It's the old OEM, and that's the one thing that I learned at a very young age with with what you call a true unibody, one of the stock cars, it's going to flex. It's going to flex a little bit because what you're doing is you're putting two components together. You've got these two things and you're bolting them. And so no matter what you're going to do, it's going to flex a little bit. The front end is not built to do what we're trying to get it to do, but it's going to have some flex. And it's always been to me when you start adding more flex in there, if it's a true stock car, you don't need that much flex. The brittleness is way important. And oh man, I hope we didn't just give away one of his trade secrets, and the other folks are gonna dive in here and try to jump all over and steal his thunder. Man, I think after that we probably ought to run his spot. Hang tight 1 second.
Hey racers, Phil Whipple here with the Revved Up Sports Show. For the past year, you've heard us talking about our partners over at Generation Race Cars. I'm proud to say they're back again this year, and they're off to a great start. Generation Race Cars, located in Springtown, Texas, continues to offer new chassis body combos all the way to turnkey sport mods and limited modifieds. All cars are built the same as you've seen in Victory Lane with drivers like Alex Hickam, Jeff Shepard, and Dean Abbey. All customers are valued and treated equally, so why not join the winning team? Justin Long is committed to giving each and every customer the time they deserve, along with a commitment to bring quality into every build. If you're ready to join the team, give the guys over at Generation Race Cars a call today at 817-528-2947. You put a lot into your racing program, so why not take it to victory lane with Team GRC?
And I will say at the same time that I think a lot of guys that race dirt that move over to asphalt do really well. Look, it's okay to compliment each other, right? Shit.
It happens.
No, it's really good.
We'll see in the race coming up. There was a lot of guys with a lot of wins from a lot of different backgrounds that came together to put on what I still feel is in Texas one of the my favorite race ever. The Texas Stock Car Spectacular there in Corpus Christi.
Yep. And Robert checking back in, and Robert, again, I promise I'm not picking on you, man. And I totally get it. I've visited several dirt tracks every year. No, there never has been. I wouldn't say never, but it's very rare that there's a dull race. Never is a big word, but it you get them on both genres. I mean, I went back today. I'm doing the Rattler coming up in March, and I went back and I watched some of the Rattler that I called last year just to kind of, just to reacclimate myself with that. Now that we're, a month and a half out, just to kind of figure out what I'm going to be doing again. And that was a great race. I mean, but at the same time, I can go find any asphalt race, and it was probably boring as fuck. And I mean, that's what happens there. And it's not so much that I mean, they're both good and they're both bad. I mean, that's just kind of one of those things, I think.
I mean, it happens. I mean, there's going to be a dull race every now and then. It's it happens, and not every race can be a barn burner, because if every then you wouldn't know what the special races were going to be.
That's exactly right. All right, before we go to our featured presentation, I feel like we're at the movies, when they show all the previews and doing all these other things. We got to talk about some of the folks that make all of this brilliance happen. And of course, the first one is On Demand Shirts. Bobby and I both sporting the On Demand Shirts polos here. Need to call my man James Cole. I missed a call from him while I was in Mississippi. Got some other things on the horizon there, and again, we've got T-shirts. We just haven't had a race to go to where we can give you people some of those. So we've got those. We're going to have them ready to go. We're going to have another allotment of those coming out as well. So if you happen to see Bobby or I at one of the racetracks, ask for a T-shirt, and we'll probably give you one as long as we have them. And then we'll have the online store set up to where you can go get all that stuff, and you can get it for the Dirty Air show as well. But how about a word from our great friends in San Antonio, James Cole at On Demand Shirts. On-demand shirts, Rogers Dabs, GM Performance, proud sponsors of the Revved Up Sports Show, along with our friends at Computer Age Automotive, Generation Race Cars, great folks being a part of the program. Bobby, you know what I love about doing this show? I mean, a lot of things about doing this show live. I got a text. I'll tell you after the fact because I can't really say it right now. I got a text when we talking to legendary people. Ooh, ooh. Got a good one coming up.
Did you get your wish that you booked this afternoon?
Maybe. Oh, I thought when you said wish, I thought, what's Robin McCall have to do with this? We've already talked to her for crying out loud. I was talking to a guy in Mississippi. We were at a bar and we were sitting around bullshitting, and the guy says, "You know who I thought was a great racer?" And I said, "Who's that?" And he said, out your way, Robin McCall. You ever heard of her? And I used Robin's line on the guy. I said, "Shit, I have her phone number. Are you kidding? I call her right now if I wanted to." All right. So we've let's talk about this race that we're about to watch, and hopefully this goes without a hitch. So this might be something that we can do in future whatever. Is this kind of a test session here, kind of a little watch along, to sit here and watch these things. So hopefully, if folks are going to be watching this with us, you've got it on a screen to where it's big enough to where you can see everything that's going on. So this race, the 95 Texas Stock Car Spectacular at Corpus. This was a race. I raced in this in the hobby stocks, and this was Longhorn was going strong. Corpus was going strong as well. They were weekly. We were all weekly at the time. San Antonio had closed down, and there were all these cars that were parked. And Irvin Brighton and Brian Calloway have this idea of putting this together. Who would have ever thought that they got the result that they got, Bobby? Like you said, Texas Racer Champions, great. Texas Big Shot 250, great. The Sam Hill races at Austin, great. Nothing compares to this one.
Yeah, when you had the San Antonio late models racing against the Longhorn Super Stocks and the Corpus Christi Super Street Stocks all together in one class, mixing a couple of TI models in there as well, and along with the stocks that you had in with a couple of street stocks there, it was fantastic. It was the best of the best. I wish we had the Race on Texas coverage of that race that back then that we have partners over at Race on Texas. That would be, not that this video is in a couple of different angles from a Texas stock car perspective.
Oh man. And I remember as we went up there, because they invited us, and we were you had the Longhorn Street Stocks is what we were. Then you had the Corpus Hobby Stocks, and then you had I think it was the San Antonio Chargers, I think is what those were. And so you had, I remember we got to Corpus that Friday. And if you remember the old way right there, you come off of 37 and you hit Agnes and you pull down there to go down Flato Road. Man, we pulled off of there and it is just lined up all the way down Agnes back to the feeder road with cars, with haulers, all open trailers at that time, by the way, trying to get into that place. And that's when I thought, holy shit. And I remember that this race, and again, we can watch that hobby race some other time, but it holds true for both races. I mean, for me, it was the first year that I raced full time. It is the only race still to this day that I had to qualify to make, where I was truly in a spot where it's like, you have to finish in the top whatever, or your ass is going back to Lockhart because they sent a lot of cars home. And in that super stock race as well, because there were so fucking many cars. And it was two classes that they had that weekend. Holy moly, man. That was, we'll never see that again. We will never see that. It was like a dirt track race on pavement back then with the car count thing.
No, it was amazing. The car count was amazing. What to have 6 heat races. I think your top 6 got locked in on time, and then they did a fast car dash, and then you had your winner of your heat races. I think there was 6 heat races that started.
Mhm.
You ended up starting 9, then second place 10, 11. 12. I mean, it was amazing how many heat races they had to do to qualify in for that main event, and they got it all in one hell of a show. Core place to do that too. Perfect place to do
God,
that.
it was. Man, I've always said it. I mean, no offense. I know that this is all stemming off San Antonio and with Austin and everything, and Kyle and Houston still going. But man, I've always said, man, if I could, God damn it, Corpus would be such a great one to be going right now. I mean, all the allure right there. I mean, the quarter mile, the high bank, and all of that, dude. I think that would be so amazing to have that track. I mean, and that really was a weekend. And it goes without saying, with all the racing that happened right there. God damn, we had a party. Holy shit. That was
dear Lord, there was a huge party.
That was one of those to where it'll never be matched. It will never be matched again. All right.
No, never. The Tracks magazine, it talked all about it.
So let's fire this bad boy up. The hobby stocks had run. Your dude right here finished 6th in that race. Somehow I finished. But then it was the super stocks is what they called them. And like Bobby said,
late model super stock. Yeah.
Yeah, limited late models and every variety of car. And that's the thing, that this is good quality video. This is from Videos by Donna. Remember that was back in the days. Videos by Donna was the one that somewhere I have this VHS. I think my dad has it somewhere. The actual VHS of this that I'd like to get digitized and moved into high definition. So we're going to dive in here and get this thing fired up. I may have to adjust the sound as we go, but we're all going to watch this together. It was September the 30th, 1995. The super stocks is what they called them. Diving on to the quarter mile at Corpus Christi Speedway. Here.
Damn, look at that front row. Brandon Bentley and David Diaz Cubell, and then you got Donnie Rupp on the outside.
Right there. Very similarly. I feel like here. Might be wrong the way around. I guess that's get the truth. You make the way around. Yeah. Okay, so a little bit of a pile up right there, Bobby, and we'll try to dive back in right here. I don't know if you can hear me, Bobby. You got me, my man?
I hear you now.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I think that's a whole thing while it's running. So part of what you're watching right here, I mean, just look at what you've seen so far. I mean, there they are with the freeze frame over on the backside. You got Bentley in the Chevelle, and then you've got Larry Smith. That's Donnie, and then Heineman, and then the fifth place car is Larry Bentley. So kind of the variety of race car, Bobby, that you were talking about earlier. I mean, boom, right there. Nobody could catch that Chevelle. That Chevelle was on rails, dude. He was so far gone. I don't want to spoil this for anybody that may not have seen it, but dude, that car was showing the way against some of those fancy looking late models right there behind him.
Who was in the 2 car? Or is it a 6 car that was running behind Larry? Is that a number 2 or a number 6?
I believe the 2 car was Leger. Somewhere I have the entire results of this, so a lot of this is from memory. So folks may have to correct me if I'm wrong, and please don't feel bad to correct me. But I think that's a Leger car that was running right there behind them. And again, that's another one of those. That's one of the late models. That's one of the late model looking cars.
Yeah, it's probably David if it was number 2.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's my guess. If it was number 2, it was David. So.
And I remember Mark Krudemski was in this race, and he was in like one of the Trans Ams, but that was more of a Romco type car that he was in, because he even at the time, so this is 95. I think Mark had a really badass Camaro. I think he won the championship in Austin in a super stock Camaro that used to be the Donnie Moore car, the Russell Grader car. So you had that one right there. And yeah, there's Cody checking in right there behind Donnie. It is definitely Heineman. Heineman is in that 71 car where he was at the time. I don't know if he, was actually racing in Corpus, but I think at that time he may have been racing in San Antonio.
I think he was running
in
late
the
models
late models there.
in San Antonio at that point.
That's what I thought.
15,
That's
of course, is the old Miller Genuine Draft car. Bruce Beddoes' Miller Genuine Draft car. The black one.
Yeah, the 51 car. The 51 car that spun out a while ago. You probably couldn't hear me. And I think that's the overlap right there, is that the video is just so loud because the audio quality is not good. The 51 that spun to the inside, that was Beaver Stelzig. A yellow car, for crying out loud, was Beaver Stelzig. All right, let's dive back in. I don't know how many laps we're in because back in those days, we didn't have any telemetry, so we don't know where we are. Let's go dive back in and watch the rest of the Superstock Feature 100 from Corpus Christi. Bobby, look at that right there. What we just saw right there. Did you see that Camaro pulling that, whatever it was, that old street stock Camaro, super stock, whatever, pulling that late, just diving down to the inside? God dang, that's crazy. A couple of notables that I saw in there. One of the Barkers is in that race. I think it's number 97.
91 at 91 is it?
Yeah, it's hard to see that. I mean, that right there, that green car from San Antonio, I don't know if that was Raymond Lund at the time, but I mean, you see that car, but still at the front, I mean, you've got these guys battling, and it's it's kind of a San Antonio show at the moment. I mean, with Brandon, Donnie's there, and then you got Heineman. Larry is kind of lurking around back there. Bobby Joe's a little further back. Keith Sandifer kind of making his way through the pack. God, really cool to watch all these different forms of cars. All right, let's go back to the show. Okay, it's getting really racy right there because we've seen a couple of different times to where it looks like Larry Smith is about ready to make the pass on Brandon, but Brandon would still get away from him in the Chevelle. That's still really impressive to see that.
Who's that running third? It's a late
The
model,
third
but I can't tell who it is at the time.
should be Harelka. I think Harelka should be
He
the
just had
third
a
place.
flat or something and dropped way back.
Oh, shoot. Okay. Because I saw, Harelka had been in the third place, and then Heineman was there. Bobby Joe is sitting right outside the top 5. Let's roll this thing a little bit more and see if we can figure that part out.
Jay.
I think my audio gets muted when that's going. Larry and Bobby Joe working their way through the field. How cool is that? I mean, how many times would you see Larry Bendeley and Bobby Joe New racing through the field? I mean, only at an event like this. That's crazy.
Yeah, only at a superstar event like this. Now there's the Carlucci.
So at this point, Larry has made the pass, and he's not looking back. And yes, that is Chuck in the flag stand up there at CC Speedway, way up on the top side.
So let's see, who is that? That's 41 of Donnie Horelka, 15 of Larry Smith, and the 72. Is that Cooter? Is that Cooter or Reader running that one?
Cooter. That was Cooter. Reader was in the 22 car, that a lot of folks were confusing with my super stock. That was Reader had that super stock back in those days. So let's dive back in here, Bobby. I got a computer that's acting kind of wonky here on the settings, so I'm trying to get the charger hooked up. So that's why I'm walking away here. Let's dive back in here and get this thing rolling. So at this point, Larry is cruising. Larry Smith.
Yeah, he's
is.
gone. I was surprised
the
he
other
broke or had flat tires or whatever. I didn't realize Leger had either broke had a flat. You saw where Bobby Joe had contact. It looked like he had a flat tire. So
Yeah. And the other thing about this race that I thought was really cool is speaking of tires. I mean, I remember we went up there, we ran our recaps. I mean, we ran our tire. So it was one of those things to where there were a lot of different divisions of cars, but at the same time, the rules were so flexible to where you kind of it was run what you brung. I mean, it really was back in those times. So you're watching like Bobby Joe and them, I would assume, and Sandifer and the Austin guys. They're probably on the recaps because it was Towel City back then in those days. And I don't know what Corpus did, but I'm sure San Antonio was on a racing tire. So, but you know, this surface, it didn't care. It chew anything up. It didn't give a damn what flavor it was. It could be peppermint, cherry, or strawberry. It would chew your shit up. I think that's what made this race so cool.
I don't know. I just wonder where these cars are. I bet half these cars are sitting in a barn somewhere or sitting in the corner of a shop under a tarp. I would love to see what these cars look like today.
Yeah, no doubt.
Or who got them after the fact and what car turned into which car and
where they
all
wound
of that.
up.
Yeah, where are they now type of deal.
That's right. All right, let's run this thing down to the finish. Larry Smith up on the point. Wow. Let's hang out the trophy queens right there. How you like that? Can't get away with that anymore. Oh man, that's awesome. I love that.
Race took my breath away, dude. Just like it did back in the day.
Man, Larry Smith, that one, and it was just
and Bruce Beto's car.
Yeah, that's right. And Bruce Beto won our race in Larry Smith's car. I remember in
that car that was
put
together by baling wire and bubble gum.
They had put it together that week, and he came out and whipped our asses, and it had the whole I got a good look at it. It had the whole left rear quarter panel gone off of it in that race. Man, What a good time that was. Ah, dang it. I'm glad that came up because it was from those damn pictures that we were watching. That was the 1995 Texas Stock Car Spectacular.
That's right.
At
Here's the poll. Let's see the pictures of what those cars look like now or what happened to those cars.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
what we need to see. Like, I love seeing the old pictures, right, of the different cars, but I'd like to see what happened to those cars, after the fact. Are they still alive? Did they get crunched up at San Antonio? Did they lose a clip here and there? Because Sandifer's car, he won the track championship at Longhorn that next season.
Yeah, he sure did. Yeah, because Mark won it that year. No, Terry James won it that year. Terry James won that, I think, in 1995. And that was about the only one that wasn't there was Terry James. I mean, that was man, that was quite the exhibition that you had right there of drivers. And the cool thing about it is that you go in there and you look, and it man, like we were just watching right there, every type of car. And that's when folks want to talk about, well, my car can't compete. Well, just bring it out.
That's
if
right.
it's something that you want to race, bring it out. Just bring it out. Sam Duncan, Cody Beto, show pictures of your dad's car as it sits today. Cody, post that shit on our page, my man. Would love to see that. Would love to see that.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a lot of fun, dude. That was a kind of like a where are they now? That's what we want to do. Like, what happened to this car? We love the drivers, but the cars are half the battle.
Yeah, exactly. And please don't post pictures of the racetrack, because I've seen that in person, and I don't want to get depressed. I see a lot of folks posting pictures of SAS. It's like, man, let's just enjoy the whatever. Let's just enjoy shit like this. That was good. We had a lot of folks on this damn thing. So we can do this more often. This may be a good thing to do during the off season. We can kind of take these old school races and go back and watch them. I mean, if you got one, you guys let us know. I've done a couple of dirty airs on this with NASCAR stuff, and that's kind of where I got this idea. It's like, man, let's just watch the race together. We can't go back and relive those days, but we can drink a beer and eat popcorn or do whatever, and go back and rewatch those races. So if you got one that you think is really good, message us, hit us on the DMs right there, and if I can get my hands on it, we'll fucking watch it again. We will watch it again.
But the best part about that video, not only were the cars and stuff, the heart and soul of that stuff is still racing today. You got a kick-ass dirt track over there at South Texas Race Ranch that opens up on March the 2nd and 3rd with the big-ass ASCS sprint car race. And then you have the remaining heart and soul of asphalt, the only remaining spark we have here in the great state of Texas. You got it coming up at Houston Motorsports Park coming up here. It'll be here before you know it.
Yeah. And one of the cool parts is, and you can find that on YouTube. I mean, just go, I think it was 1995 CC Speedway, and you'll find it.
Both races, yeah.
Yeah, everything is right there. And that's our QR code right there if you want to check out the show, to the Revved Up Sports Show site, RevvedUpSportsShow.com. The main thing is, what was so cool about that is if you go back and watch that, look at the grandstands, man. The grandstands were packed. And I remember, like I said, I remember that weekend vividly, because to me, that was the biggest race I had ever run in at that point. And going there, I mean, the stands were full. I mean, there were so many people having a great time, and it really was. I mean, even kind of correlating back to the Texas Race of Champions days. This is where you had all the hubs that were coming together. You had Houston, Austin, San Antonio, Corpus. You had everybody that came together right there, and it was just a entertaining show. And I remember that night we were done. Of course, it was 2 classes with a whole lot of heat races. We were done at a reasonably good hour. I mean, we stayed up all night, but still, it was done at a reasonable time, and that's just so cool.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. That was one of my favorite races ever.
Yeah.
Till this day, I would still say, at least in my lifetime, within the time I've been around, in the 20, gosh, what are we coming up on? 35 years now of being 37, 38 years of being involved. That's still my favorite race, 1995 Texas Stock Car Spectacular.
How can that be? I thought you were only like 23 years old. How the hell's that? That doesn't add up, dude.
Till I'll be 45 on Friday.
Damn, you old.
45 on Friday.
and there was, you know, a couple of things right there. There it is. The 41 dropped a cylinder. You know, Donnie was right there in the top 5. It was Brandon's race to lose. I mean, he was right there. But man, I just go back to like we were talking about there in a couple of stoppages that we did right there, to where you looked at the caliber of guys that were racing together. And what was really impressive to me about that race, a lot of things, but in that race, not so much in our race, because we were just, you know, we were out there, you know, with lead sleds out there racing, but you know, with Donnie, with Leger, with the San Antonio guys, with Barker, with Beaver, all of these guys that had been on the speed plant for all of those years on the big track, to come and race with the guys from Corpus and the guys from Austin that were bull ring guys. I mean, and even the Austin guys, you know, those guys that hadn't been on a high bank track like that. Corpus was different, man. Short straightaways, high banks. You could really zip around that place. That was the coolest part. Everybody adapted really well and really fast, and just put on a fucking great show, man. That was cool. That was really, really cool.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. Good times reminiscing over the racetracks that we had before. I just hope it builds momentum, not just to a reunion, right, where everybody can come in and say hello and chill out and all that. Let's build this momentum. Let's make new memories. Let's make memories for this next generation of racers, so that they can come and do this in 10, 15, 20 years after we're done and gone.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. Hey, you guys want to watch a race next Monday? Let us know. We can do that again. We can have another popcorn session. We call it the Revved Up popcorn session, that we can do and watch old school races. This has been a lot of fun tonight, guys. Thanks to Justin Lee for being a part of the program. River City Quarter Midget Association. Really great stuff right there from him. And that's kind of been this has been cool, because we talked about the future of the sport, and then we went way back, and in between we talked right there to our man Justin Long, talking about all the great stuff, and you know, really cool stuff. Cody Beto checks in. Let's watch the hobby stock one next week. Hey man, I'm good. I'd gladly watch that if y'all want to. We can do that if y'all want to.
Hey, Sandy for checked in. I know where was that the last, as I talked about it. Stan Easty is the one person to have that car.
Oh wow! And the same thing for me, Keith. In my car, in my Nova, I didn't have power steering. We didn't even know how to hook that shit up back then. I mean, my dad was like, "You don't need that." You know, we had a lot of guys that were kind of flirting with that back then, but running around out there was like, it's like. I remember my car was that old Nova was so set to turn left. I mean, I would go down the straightaway, and it was even worse there at Corpus. It was like I'm steering like this to the right. You know, it's like, and then you get over there and you just kind of let it fall in there, because you didn't have power steering. You didn't have any of that shit, man. That was great. That was great. Cool stuff right there. Man, the Texas Stock Car Spectacular. Man, that was fun. That was fun. To get to do that again, who would that be? Shit.
If anybody can make it happen, it's our man Owen Pittman down there in Houston.
Well, yeah. Yes, sir. You can feel the car is what I was told. That's exactly. Yeah, that's what I always. Yeah, you can feel the car. I'm like, well, the car is kind of feeling me right now. was kind of what I always thought. It's kind of like the whole thing with San Antonio, when they would always tell me, Bobby, it's like, you're letting off the gas too soon. I'm like, what? And it's like, you got to run all the way to the stoplight. I'm like, wait a minute, all the way over there? and you're going down the straightaway, you got the foot to the floor, and it's like, can that fucking stoplight come over here? Because I can't do this. Another race next Monday. Well, you guys tell us what you want to watch. We'll try to find it. We will try to find it. Some of these things are hard to find. I've got the whole Ray Scott collection, but that's on VCR, so I can't really tie that into all of this yet. Just give us time. We'll figure out a way to do that. And maybe
you got some old San Antonio DVDs in there too.
And I got all kinds of shit, man. I've got so much shit, it's ridiculous. I tell you, if something happened to me, Bobby, you need to come get all this, because my wife would have no idea what to do. So if I die, God, I hope it happen tomorrow. I got to go get a physical tomorrow. You need to come get all this shit, because it's got to be in somebody's hands that's going to be able to know what to do with all this stuff.
What is Tom Taylor going to do with all his stuff when he goes?
Oh man, I don't know, because he's kind of. Tom has inherited a bunch of stuff kind of the way that I have. So I think Tom and I need to rent a one of the mini storage things that's insulated and put all of our shit in there. That way, if something happens to either one of us, all of you people can figure out how to go do whatever you want to do with it. Don't sell it. Don't sell it. Keep it genuine. Keep it genuine.
Yeah.
And pass it on. Pass it on to the children. Pass it on to the children. Fun stuff. All right, guys, we are way late. So thank you all for being a part of this. Maybe. And we will do it again next Monday. Who knows what the hell we'll come up with. Seriously, if y'all want to watch another race, let us know. We'll dig it up, do the best we can, and we'll do another watch along and have some really cool stuff. Right quick, Gary Keys checking in. Now this is why we do this shit, because it's folks like Gary that come out and boom. Anyone have the TIDA race at Texas World in 92 and 93?
For sure.
Yeah, let's.
I watched that at Texas
Speed. Yeah, let's see what we can come up with on some of these things, because those would be a lot of fun to watch. I know that I've seen a couple of different things from Texas World. Anyway, we'll see what we can come up with, and we'll do it again next week. And at the same time, we will have more great guests, and we'll recap the Clash. Ready for the Clash, Bobby?
Yep. I kind of didn't realize it was so soon, but yeah.
Keep it short and sweet. Yep. A made-up track on a bull ring. Who'd have ever thought that would work?
Inside a stadium. Inside a football stadium.
Inside a stadium or a coliseum or a convention center. It'll never work. Look at NASCAR over here laughing. It'll be fun. We'll recap that. We'll have more guests. And hell, I guess we're going to watch another movie next week. Movie night. Revved Up movie night. So we'll do all of that. Thank you all for being a part of the program. Bobby, final thoughts, my man, as we dive into a brand new week.
Well, it's going to be because I'm working at the convention for the days, and then it'll end up being a birthday week on my birthday, Friday night into Saturdays. Who knows what's going to happen? I'll let everybody know what happens Monday.
Yep, absolutely. Big thanks to all the folks that make this happen. Actually, let's go ahead and roll one more time our great friends at On Demand Shirts. Yeah, man, racing season, let them help you out and get you hooked up as well. A big thanks, Roger Stabs, Performance Parts, GM Performance, great partners with the program as well as our man. You heard him on here. It is Generation Race Cars, Justin Long, and all of the great folks with everything that they do. All right, Bobby, let's get the hell out of here.
TIDA 125 from CC Speedway, November 11th, 1995, just found on YouTube.
That could be a good one right there as well. 91 is when Slick beat for. Oh man, now that would be the one. That would be a really good one. Yeah, I know there's a Corpus race on there as well. Yeah, it may be the one that you're talking about, Bobby. But yeah, we'll keep digging. We'll keep digging, see what we can come up with, and watch some cool ass races from the past. And by the way, if you guys have any of those videos hidden out that are in a form that we can show on here, send them over, and we'll break them all down together. All right, Bobby, let's get the hell out of here, man. You got shit to do, and I do too. So great program, and we'll do it again next Monday.